Hello and welcome to the WrestleTalk News. I'm Ollie Davis.
And I'm also here.
Quiet, Luke. There's wrestling news to list. The biggest stories of the week we didn't get to cover.
Remember to subscribe and enable notifications to always on for the latest wrestling news videos, and we'll pay you money.
We will not pay you money.
Okay, so we'll pay you instead in great wrestling news content like...
Number 1. Tony Khan and Joey Janela Heat Update. An AEW star has heat with Tony Khan and they're not named MJF. Former AEW star Joey Janela, whose contract expired in the beginning of May, was very vocal in an interview with Denise Salcedo in April about the lack of communication between AEW management and their talent. He particularly mentioned the promotion going radio silent on him, as well as another former All Elite Wrestling star, Marco Stunt. Tony Khan is famed for taking criticism coolly and rationally.
With Eric Bischoff, where he, and I quote, he said that you were the biggest financial flop in wrestling.
That's bullshit.
Speaking on Insight with Chris Van Vliet, Joey Janela revealed how his comments got him a heat. I heard Tony was hot about it. It made him look bad, and it made their talent relations look bad. At the same time, it made them improve their communications with talent within that 2-week period afterwards. I heard people were upset, but talent was hitting me up from the company saying, "You're 100% correct, you spoke up, and that was cool to take that risk." I haven't talked to Tony since. That's something that kind of irked me, because we were so cool, and after the AEW shows, when AEW first started, I would go out with him because he knew I would stay up until 7 in the morning with him, drinking shots of tequila. I assume he's still irked by it. There's no hard feeling on either side. There are no bridges burned between me and AEW. I'm friends with all the talent here.
Number 2, Johnny Elite is not signed with AEW. Johnny Elite, aka John Hennigan, aka John Morrison, aka Johnny Mundo, aka Johnny Impact, aka Johnny Pornhub, has appeared on All Elite Wrestling over the last few weeks after debuting on the May 18th edition of AEW Dynamite as the Joker participant against Samoa Joe in the Owen Hart Foundation Men's Tournament. Despite appearing in 2 matches on last Saturday's Dark episode against Private Party's Mark Quinn, congratulations on your Jubilee celebrations this weekend, and on this week's Dynamite against the returning Miro, we haven't seen the traditional hashtag All Elite graphic for Mr. Morrison Mundo Elite Impact Pornhub. According to Fightful Select, the reason for this is because he is not signed full-time as of yet. It remains to be seen if Johnny Elite will be All Elite for the long haul.
Number 3. Wardlow's new AEW theme. Wardlow picked up the biggest win of his career so far by beating MJF in last Sunday's AEW Double or Nothing pay-per-view with 10 whole powerbombs. It wasn't just an AEW contract he won. After weeks of coming to the ring in complete silence, it seems he's getting a brand new entrance theme. Fightful Select reports that Wardlow is expected to have a new theme song to debut imminently on AEW programming.
Number 4, AOP wanted to leave WWE. The AOP of Akam and Razor were quite the impressive tag team during their time in WWE, becoming the winners of the 2017 Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, NXT Tag Champions, and Raw Tag Team Champions. Remember when they were part of Seth's faction in the before times? Following their release in September 2020, the two were relatively silent, with outlets even saying they were retired from the wrestling business. However, it seems there's new life for the former Authors of Pain, now the Legion of Pain, Sunny Dinsa and Kazim Selmani. Sorry if I said those names wrong. In a new interview with Fightful's Sean Ross Sapp to promote WES, more on that in a bit, they've opened up about their time and subsequent departure from WWE. The two say they had actually decided they were going to leave WWE before they were released, as they were pitched creative plans that they weren't keen on. So when the release happened, it didn't come as a surprise to them, and they saw it as a blessing, especially as the 2 years they had off were in a dangerous time in the world with the pandemic. They were waiting for the right opportunity to come back, and confirmed that they had told other promoters that they weren't interested in wrestling.
Number 5. Ric Flair working with WWE again. Despite retiring at 2008's WrestleMania 24, Ric Flair is set to have his last match during StarCast 5 weekend in Nashville, the same weekend as SummerSlam. This follows a controversial 2021 for the Nature Boy, where he first left WWE in August, ending his 9-year relationship with the company in his 3rd stint there, and then a Dark Side of the Ring episode covering accusations of sexual assault during the infamous Plane Ride from Hell. This was thought to derail him joining AEW, which was being built up in Being the Elite, but now it looks like Ric Flair is making his return to working with WWE. the company announced on their social media that they are working with the Nature Boy and Tom Rinaldi on a new 2-hour-long documentary to discuss the never-revealed-before history of the 16-time world champion. Hopefully, we'll finally get answers on whatever that Lacey Evans storyline was at the end of his last run on WWE TV.
Number 6, Jeff Jarrett's WWE return. The last time we saw Jeff Jarrett in WWE was randomly popping up on the January 21st edition of SmackDown in a backstage segment with Rick Boogs and Shinsuke Nakamura. That same weekend, Double J defeated Effie at the World on GCW pay-per-view event in New York. Yeah, he gets around. This marked his first appearance for WWE after quietly departing the company in 2021 when he worked as a full-time member of the creative team and in the live events department. Well, the WWE Hall of Famer is back with the company full-time. PW Insider first reported that Jarrett had agreed to come back to WWE to take over live events once again in a high-level executive position. The former TNA founder confirmed this news on his My World podcast with Conrad Thompson. Those poor GCW fans who wanted Effie to get his revenge will just have to wait, it seems.
Number 7. Dakota Kai's new look. This week marked the non-compete clauses expiring for a number of former NXT talents that were released at the end of April. On the same week that Stokely Hathaway and Athena debuted for All Elite Wrestling, former WWE star Dakota Kai celebrated her free agency with a new look, a new name. Kai confirmed her new persona of King Kota and shared pictures of her new look on Twitter. The former 2-time NXT Women's Tag Team Champion is now sporting a blend of her signature pink hair with grey and black streaks.
Number 8. Released WWE star returns to Raw. The longest participant in a Royal Rumble match ever has returned to WWE to continue his magical run. Sort of. On Monday's edition of Raw, Joe Hennig, formerly known as Curtis Axel, and Michael McGillicuddy, legit one of the worst NXT names of all time, was among the WWE officials who came out to separate Hell in a Cell rivals Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins during their pull-apart brawl. This spotting of a wild Curtis Axel appearing led to Curtis Axel trending on Twitter. Hennig had not been seen on WWE TV since the February 28, 2020 episode of SmackDown, as he was released from the promotion in April that same year. Fightful Select reported last month that Hennig worked a tryout for a role as a producer on SmackDown, along with former 205 Live star Araya Daivari, who was also cited during the Rhodes-Rollins brawl. Hennig and Daivari appearing on this week's Raw seems to signal that the tryouts went well.
Number 9. Raw's record low rating. Speaking of Monday's WWE Raw, the show also had Bianca Belair vs Asuka and the very exciting contract signing of Bobby Lashley and Omos and MVP for the Hell in a Cell Premium Live event. That's the sort of lineup that'll get you a record rating, right? Somehow no. The episode drew 1.497 million viewers, which is the second lowest total viewership in the show's history. This episode did air on Memorial Day, which historically draws bad numbers, and it also went head-to-head with Game 7 of the New York Rangers and Carolina Hurricanes in the NHL playoffs. But if next week's show draws the same rating, expect the panic button to be pushed and a McMahon to pop up on television imminently.
And number 10, WES suspends show. Do not let Tony Khan and All Elite Wrestling fool you. The launch of a new promotion can be a tricky and difficult endeavor. Just ask Adam Blompier. A former WWE tag team with no previous experience doing a 10,000-seat show in front of a global audience on short notice, well, that sounds extremely far-fetched to say the least. That is what the aforementioned Akam and Rezar were looking to do with their Wrestling Entertainment Series, WES. Their premiere event was set for June 4th, with former WWE Universal Champion Braun Strowman, aka Adam Titan Scher, versus former UFC star Alistair Overeem for the WES World Championship, as well as the former Lana CJ Perry versus the former Nia Jax Lena Fanene for their women's title. Not only that, but the card featured a reunion of the not-problematic members of the Forgotten Sons, the former Gimp Zardos Karrion Kross, former Kalisto, former NXT North American Champion Jonah, former Mojo Jojo Rawley, Impact Wrestling's Mike Bennett, Deonna Purrazzo, Madison Rayne, and Tennille Dashwood, as well as Chelsea Green, Lindsay Dorado, the former Fandango, and the former Oni Lorcan. That's quite the lineup. They announced this week that the event in the Motorport Arena in Nottingham, England was postponed to July 9th. Chelsea Green had actually already announced this news herself on Twitter, and Fightful Select are reporting that numerous people booked on this show will not be on the one in July. Interestingly, Fightful also note that the event was planned to debut in Dubai, but the passing of the Sheik caused things to change, so they moved it to Nottingham. Because when you think of the UK equivalent of Dubai, you think of Nottingham. What with its close access to the M1, and it isn't hugely far away from Tip Shelf service station southbound between junction 28 and 29, which Brenda Fairfield describes in her Google review as a refreshing change from Moto. Couldn't agree more, Brenda. AOP's reason for the show delay was this weekend's Mark Quinn Jubilee celebrations, but Fightful say that this new reason isn't what they have heard. AOP did tell Sean though that they hope WES would be a long-term play for them. That's our list. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope everyone in the UK had a lovely Jubilee weekend. Click the other WrestleTalk videos on screen right now to see more of the WrestleTalk news videos, a perfect way to round off your weekend. Jam that jam.